Hey babes, my name's Hannah.
And my name's Chasity.
Welcome back to Bookish Babes. Today we are filming our top romance books that we read in 2022.
Perfect.
Yes.
Yes.
I feel like we could do this with a lot of genres, and maybe we will. But it's like Valentine's Day is coming up. It's the beginning of 2023, so I feel like it's a good time to talk about our favorite romance books that we read last year.
Absolutely.
Not all these came out last year, but we read them last year.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do be slow on some of
Yeah.
these.
Some of them did come out in 2022. I did pretty good with new releases last year.
But I did too.
Yeah.
Kind of. A little bit. Okay. Who wants to go first?
You can go first. I think you have more than me.
All right. First one I read was a new release. Book Lovers by Emily Henry. Oh my god. I loved it. I loved it.
Still haven't read it.
Girlfriend. This one I think was my favorite from her so far.
It's funny because I hear mixed reviews about this one.
I know you do.
Yeah.
But girly, I am
Your opinion is the only one that matters. so,
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, people
love to hate on everything, so
they do. They love to hate on everything, and
Yeah.
that's fine. Hate all you want. I don't care. It's not going to change my opinion. Loved this book.
Yeah. Speaking of somebody that people love to hate on, first one on my list is It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. I swear, the book community, as much as I love that people are reading now that TikTok has come out, I feel like the book community has become so fucking toxic. So
really has.
toxic. And there is so much Colleen Hoover slander out there, which is fine. You don't have to like her. But there's a way to dislike an author while not slamming the people who do enjoy her books.
True.
And we are OG Colleen readers from like years before anybody knew about her and she was ever available in store. I love this book.
Sure.
I loved It Ends With Us, and I loved It Starts With Us, and I don't even care. You can feel
Loved
differently
it.
about it if you want. I loved it.
Go ahead. Go on with your bad self. I loved it too. Loved it so much. My next one was Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. I loved this one so much. I loved the writing. I loved the characters. I loved Delilah and I loved Claire. And I always see this cover and I think those are my two personalities. Just, I love it. So good. So good. You need to read this. You need to read this.
It literally just arrived on my doorstep from Amazon.
Yes?
Yeah.
Yay! I'm so excited for you to read it.
I'll read it in the next few weeks. Next one I want to talk about is a Taylor Jenkins Reid book. It's One True Loves. Fucking love this book. I know you haven't read this one yet.
I am so excited.
You need to. This one is the coolest concept. It's about a woman who's, you get to like read their love story too, but her husband goes missing. He is a travel photographer and the plane that he's on goes missing and he's presumed dead. So she moves on with her life and she actually gets to fall in love again, which is really beautiful. I mean, how many people get two really great loves in their life? And
not many.
No. And so you
Most
get
don't even
to,
get one.
right? You get to like learn about her love story with her husband and then with this other guy that she ends up falling for. And then her husband actually comes back. He finds his way back.
Hello there.
And so you get to like heal with everybody. You learn about what happened, why he's been gone, see her try to grapple with the life that she had versus the life that she's built. And it's not like it's very much not a love triangle, because I don't love a love triangle. It's very much like why I love it is because it's very forward with her. You get to see her decide how she wants to live her life.
Okay.
And who she wants to be.
Okay.
And
That's fair. That's very
It
fair.
was very good.
The next one I want to talk about is The Comic-Con by Dee Lagasse. Oh my god, this one was one of my favorites of the year. I just loved it. It's such a good story. I loved the characters, the dynamics, all of the character growth, the depth. Just so good.
You said
Just chef's kiss. So good. I just loved it. Birdie and Atticus are just like one of my favorite couples ever. The whole concept of Birdie writing this beautiful suffragette comic and just like being in charge of this whole thing, and it's becoming a movie, and then Atticus gets cast for the lead male role, but it's definitely like a whole female team. Her entire group that works on the comic is female led, and it's all about like females into this, you know, this world of like film production and all that. And I loved everything about it. I loved it.
Cute. I heard you talk about the one so much. I really need to read it.
It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Just chef's kiss.
Mm-hmm. Next one I have is another Taylor Jenkins Reid book. It's Maybe in Another Life. She's also read this one. It was also on her list, but so good.
So good.
So good. I never know how to describe it, but basically it's like the story starts out one way, and then it kind of goes off into two different directions because her life kind of comes to a crossroads at some point in this one night, and she has a choice to make, and it shows how her life would have ended up if she had made either choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the message behind it because it shows that like her life worked out fine either way. It was a very different journey, but her life worked out.
Yeah. Like it's gonna be okay either way.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it was very good.
It was a very cool premise, and I had a ton of fun reading it.
Me too.
And I actually, fun fact, recommended this book to my grandma, who has a very different reading taste than me, and she really loved it as well. So.
The next one that I have is By the Book by Jasmine Guillory. I really, really enjoyed this one. This was like a loose reimagining of Beauty and the Beast, but it was like more like subtle nods to it because it really wasn't much. Like I didn't feel like that overwhelming like Beauty and the Beast feel to it. But it was about a girl who works at a publishing company, and she's trying to get her foot on the ladder, pretty much. Instead of climbing up the ladder, she's trying to get on the ladder.
She's trying to get involved.
She's just trying to get there.
Yeah. And
she gets this like great opportunity to work on this case, and he is a very difficult client. He needs to write a memoir, but he's like, I don't remember if he was a childhood star or if he was just the son of like these famous people, but either way he's supposed to write a memoir and he's like refusing to do it, and they keep giving him like, they keep pushing back the deadline, and he finally says that he'll write it, but like she needs to come and like stay there and help him write it. So she goes and she stays, and it just goes from there. Like obviously forced proximity, but it was really good. It was really, really good. It was I liked it a lot. And then I found out it was actually the second in I think it's called Meant to Be. Like it was a companion
you
novel.
Clearly don't need to read the first one.
No, and the first one was written by a different author.
Oh.
So I've never seen that before. That's why I didn't know it was the second. So it was If the Shoe Fits by Julie Murphy was the first one, and it's Cinderella.
Yeah.
And once you see the two covers together, you're like, oh, duh, of course, that makes sense. They look very like similar. It's very clear they go together. But because they went in different sections, I never would have figured it out.
Yeah.
So.
Next one I have is a very popular one, but it's Neon Gods by Katie Robert. It's so weird to say Robert. I apologize for all of the times that we said Katie Roberts on this channel because I was convinced that was her last name.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
But it's Katie Robert. Just one Robert, not Roberts.
Yeah. We were adding all the Robert.
I have said this before, and I'll say it again. I am a sucker for a Hades and Persephone retelling. If there's ever that book kind of reminds me of Hades and Persephone, I'm buying it. I'm buying it and I'm reading it. And it stands no chance. Like, I have to read it.
Yeah.
Even if I don't end up enjoying it, I still enjoyed it for the simple fact that it was a light retelling of Hades and Persephone. I enjoyed this one. Is it one of my all-time favorites? No. But I enjoyed it enough that it ended up on this list. It was a fun read. I think like you have to take Katie Robert for like who she is and what she writes. Like it's not a work of fiction, but I did have a ton of fun reading it.
Yeah,
very heavy on the smut.
Very heavy on the smut.
Lighter on the plot, and very light on the political system, which that's my biggest complaint with this book, but I did like it.
Following that, the one that made it onto my list was Electric Idol.
I liked Electric Idol more than Neon Gods, I think.
I also did. That's why I put it on this list. So, Electric Idol was Eros and Psyche, and I liked it more than Neon God, which is crazy because Hades and Persephone is also my thing, but Electric Idol was where it was at for me. I also felt like it got more into the political system in this one.
Correct.
And
I loved Eros.
I just loved Eros. I did. And Psyche was just, she was a bad bee, man. I really loved it. So that's why I put that one on here.
Next one I have on my list is Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. Now, if you guys watch the channel and you remember me talking about this right after I finished it, I was pissed. Let me explain. Because I
do remember
this was like, until the last couple chapters, this was a 5-star read for me. Like one of my all-time favorites. It reminds me a lot of a book that I used to love. What's it called? It's so popular now. Why can't I remember it? The one I made you read that you hated. The Summer I Turned Pretty. The Summer I Turned Pretty.
I hated.
Yeah. And that was like my favorite series when I was in middle school. And this reminds me a lot of it. It was like and I love like a dual timeline. You know, you get a chapter in the past and a chapter now.
Yeah.
And it was a second chance romance. It was like people who hadn't seen each other in years that are now like, you know, coming back together. And it's in a cute little beach town.
That's perfect.
I loved it. I loved it until I got to the last few chapters. And I still stand by the fact that I beef with the last few chapters.
Okay.
I hate the reason. There's a reason why they broke up and didn't talk for several years. And I hate the reason.
Okay.
I hate it. I have a big problem with it. But I can't discount the fact that I loved it so much up until then.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. It was a 5-star read for me. Then I knocked it down to like a 3 out of anger. And now I think it's more of a 3.5 or a 4. Okay. I'm still pissed off at the ending, but I now that I've been separated from it for so many months, I can see how it's a pretty good book.
You're so funny.
I just hated that part. I really did.
I understand it.
Yeah.
But
I really do. All that being said, I do recommend it. I don't think a lot of people were as pissed off as I was. So it's just a personal thing. I just don't like. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a certain trope that I don't love. That got involved in the end. Up until that trope, it was a really great book. So I feel like I have to give it credit where it's due. You know?
You do have to give it where it's due.
Yeah.
We do have to do that.
Yeah.
The last one that I want to talk about is The Spanish Love Deception. I did really like it. I did. You know, and I know a lot of people didn't. I'm sorry for your loss.
It was real popular and then it got mixed reviews. I feel like that happens when a book gets really popular though. The more people who read it, the more people are going to have an opinion about it. And some people don't like a book just because it's popular.
Some people don't read it and they just were like, oh, that was trash. You know, I don't care. Again, I don't care.
Or if you read it and didn't like it, that's fine.
That's fine.
You know, more people reading it, more opinions. I think that's how that happens.
I really loved it.
Yeah, and that's fair. And I'm going to read it too because I feel like I like it.
I really loved it. So...
last one on my list is Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. I feel like when I finished this, I was also a little bit on the fence with this one. I never quite know my feelings right when I finish a book. I feel like I need to sit on it for a while. Now that I've sat on it for a while and there's a sequel coming out, I'm super excited to read the sequel. That to me means that I enjoyed it, and I do remember really enjoying it. It's a thicker book. It's longer than I expected it to be, especially because I read it on my Kindle. So I actually...
You had no idea how...
Right. And so then when I saw it in person, I was like, oh, that's so much longer than I thought it was because it felt really quick to me. I read it really quickly. It was really entertaining, and I actually really liked both of the main characters, which never happens.
Never.
No.
Not a single thing.
And it's really great because our main character, like, has a really great character arc, and she's, you know, discovers that she has a niece, and it's all about her bonding with the niece and her living life in this really small town, and she has a twin sister and people judge her because of what her twin sister did, and it's a really cool. They have a really great arc. It's not as light and fluffy as you would think looking at the cover. It's got like some darker things that it deals with, and I really liked it.
Do remember you telling me that. It's on my list.
Yeah.
It's on my list.
Yeah. Like, we say that constantly. It's on my list.
It's on my list.
I'll get to it at some point maybe before I die.
Potentially.
Yeah.
You know. I could get hit by a bus tomorrow.
Yeah.
Don't know.
You need to finish Game of Thrones first. So.
That's the one. So there you have it. Those are our recommendations for the top romances in 2022. I always want to say 2020. I don't know. It's just going to be a thing.
It's 2023 at this point.
It's ridiculous. But comment down below. Let us know what you think. Hit that like button and subscribe. And make sure you tap that notification bell so you know when we post next. Bye.